Okay, we are gathered here today. Actually, we're not. I'm putting this together because this is for a friend of ours, a guy named Verix, David. Anyway, he was on. No, he was on Untold Radio last night. And I hadn't really heard. I'd heard part of his stories. I've listened to some of it, but he got into a part I didn't hear was the part where he got basically saved from being thrown in a fire. And we got two stories, so I'm like, well, let's shoot this. I'm shooting it in black and white because we have this old Sanyo fucking 1970s. So it's like, cool, let's shoot with that old camera and also kill two birds with one stone. So we're going to talk about the two cases that basically something, I don't know, we're assuming Bigfoot. One of the reasons you'll see why in a minute. Something saved some people. And so I got Matt here, and I'm going to try to, you're going to explain what happened with your fire experience.
All right. I'm going to explain that weird thing that happened to me. Like, it kind of happened to Verix. For me, it was, I was hanging out with my buddies for that night, and we were going to have a little bonfire, And we're got a gas tank burning it, a plastic thing, and the fire got big and such. And my buddies walked out to get a 5-gallon bucket of water, and I was still at the fireplace making sure it doesn't get out of hand or anything, And then it was like that time period is whenever I noticed that I'm already on the side of the ditch, on the, not ditch, the embankment that was behind us. And I didn't know what happened. My buddies pulled me up. Well, one of my buddies came around the barn, the opposite end, and he came around and pulled me up, and I didn't know what happened, but I was near the fireplace, and then I was gone. It was like I just got pulled away from the fire. I couldn't tell. I was just standing there from what I remember, looking around. Everything was just fine, and I just got pulled away from it. And I looked back at the fire when I woke up. I noticed the fire was about half or more bigger than it was prior, And I don't know, it pulled me out. Lost time. I don't know what happened. It just I'm on the side of the bank. And I had no bruises, no feeling. My head didn't hit nothing. I felt good. Nothing was wrong. My body, no scratches, no nothing. I was just pulled or something, I guess. And I don't know what done that. Could have been a Bigfoot type of deal. Maybe something in the bonfire that we didn't know was in it, and something about to pop or something, I guess. I don't know, And I was,
Okay, so let's try to break this down a little. I think you told me you're found yourself I don't know, in the bushes or some crap, but you're also confused because your friends had just got back. Now, so tell me a little bit about that, and also tell me, you said that the fire, it was big and that was small, and so. Well, hold on a second. You're going to get the mic in a second. Anyway, so tell me what specifically you can remember, because obviously something was wrong with that picture. Can you be more specific about what you think? Did you lose time? What can you remember now?
So while I was standing there at the fire pit, it was I didn't know. It was very weird. I lost some time. It definitely seemed like, because it was when I woke up, one of my buddies pulled me out of the bank and stood up. Noticed my other buddies, they already threw a bucket of water on it. I didn't even know. And just came back to the fire pit and was like, well, shoot, Everything's fine now. It just went back to the fire pit, and it was no thought about it. It was just like, but it was very weird at that moment was that I got kicked out of the fire pit type of deal. And I like it just like pulled me out. I don't know what happened there or why my how things lined up. It was just like a paused time right there. I don't know what happened. It just pulled me out. Something I just woke up from the bank. You know? So the bank was like a 6 foot drop off, and then it came to flat, and then we have the fire pit right there, and the bank was just about like 20 foot away, you know, and I got blown kind of corner, so not directly to the bank, but kind of corner from the fire to the bank. Um, and then you can pause for a sec. Sorry. So what happened is we got the fire going. I'm going to start from the beginning, right? So we got the fire going, and we already planned this together that we're all going to hang out by this fire and be behind my buddy's garage, and that's where the fire pit's at. And the water is at the house, just on the other side of the garage and onto the house, which is an extra 50 foot away, and so we got the fire going, and fire going, and then we walked. Then I was sitting there. One of my buddies threw the big old plastic thing on top of the fire, and that was going faster and started picking up speed and such. And that's when my buddy went out to go get some water, and then a bucket of water, and come back to throw on it. So I was just waiting for them on the way back for them to come back. And next thing I knew, I was on the bank part. The bank's if you're looking out from the back side of the garage towards the fire, you look to the right will be the bank. And that's about 20 to 40 foot, average. And that's where I got tossed type of deal away from the fire. And my buddies were gone. They were all getting some jugs of water, at least to have extras on the side if the fire catches going big again. That was our concept and what we were doing. So, alright. So, it was about 20 yards away they got the water, right to the house from where we were having the fire. And then when I woke up from getting blown away, I guess, from the fire, or got picked up and put on the bank or something like that, that's where I noticed I was just laying back and very comfortable on a little spot of area that I have no clue how I fit in. And I knew for sure I couldn't, really get up because how tight of an area I was in, but very comfortable in the area. I think that's very weird. And then I was able to get a help from my buddy from the left side of me, and he reached out his arm, and I was able to get up out of this little hole I got into. I don't know how I got into. And then as I got up, I noticed there was already a bucket that was thrown on the fire. It wasn't as big, but it was still big. It's like the fire was going pretty stronger. The heat of the core of the fire was very thick. It's just the water calmed it down, but the fire was already rising up again. So when I came back, it seemed like the fire was about the same or bigger, but it was weird because it was like a lot of lost time there, as you could tell. And they already threw a bucket of water on it. I didn't see them throw the first bucket of water on that fire. And so I got up. So when I was laying down there, it was a junk pile I fell into, by the way. And I'm in a junk pile, comfortable, about 20 feet away from the fire. And my buddy, when he reached out to try to pick me up, he said, "What are you doing? Come join the party, man." And I was like, oh, um, dazed, trying to wake up. Like, I don't know, man, but let's keep on going and have some fun. And he had, and I had not been drinking. That was we didn't have no drinks at that time because they were coming from the store, waiting for the fire to get started, and such. Well, that was prior. That everybody's finally here, but we had no drinks passing around because the fire was getting it. And by the time I woke up, they had drinks. Now they're already passing it or something. So they had just regular beer. We didn't have nothing else, and woke up, passed me a beer, and that was it. I was like, well, now we're at the party, so all good now. Just goofing off out there in the woods with my buddy's property, and it's like, okay. That's when my buddy pulled out his guitar, and we had a rest of the good night. But that's the part of I woke up, and they were like, hey, man, join the party. What are you doing? Slumbering on your own corner or something like that, sleeping over there or something. I don't know what words he actually used, but that's the like, oh, I'm away from the party. I need to catch up. But so this is my hypothetical thing I felt from what happened in that spot of missing time was that I got picked up by an alien and then dropped back into the junk pile. But that's the type of feeling I got off of it. Some zapped me out and then set me back down gently. And then finally, one of my buddies came around the corner and saw me. He said, hey, come on, let's join the party, man. And I still don't know what happened. Because of that time being so fast and the moment of just like trying to enjoy time, I didn't really like connect it to what happened. I was like, well, I'm just going to pass it off. I don't know, don't care, going to move forward. And I'm like, I'm not in pain. I ain't got no head problem, no blood, no scratches. Everything's fine. My buddy's pulling out a guitar, so I'm gonna go goof off now. But yeah,
Okay, Rex, I hope that kind of helps. That's, story. It said something during the chat, last night. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go record this for your for you and Matt both to put the record up, you know. Now, we're going to tell you something that happened to my oldest son, and you want to tell him? Okay.
so here's part two type of deal, and this is Andy, my oldest brother. Um, I was here at the house while my brother was going out with some friends that night, and see, he had a buddy Jacob that he trusted for many years, and on the way back from a party that he was coming from or something like that, they've been drinking, um, supposedly, that my buddy Jacob was driving, and Andy, oh no, yeah, on the way back they were driving from somewheres, and Jacob was the driver, and while he coming down this road, creek road of some type, creek road, a very very curvy road, and around the sharp corner, that's where he wrecked the truck. But it was very weird the way he wrecked the truck. He drove along the right side of the bank before the turn, middle at the peak of the turn, and on the other side of the turn. And also, whenever he was on the other side of the turn, somehow he hopped past a telephone pole. And then he parked it there. And then he walked his way along the way. And they had another friend that was in there in the truck too with them. And he was like causing like strife or something like that. It wasn't really a good friend. He was a friend that was, I don't know, he was just doing his thing, and he had some bad energies or something like that. And the route that they were going to go in wasn't going to be good because Andy told me that he was going to a party of some other party where that dude's going to try to fight the dude or something like that. So who knows what type of ordeal they were going to go into. And then Jacob wrecked the truck like that. And what Jacob saw, even still today, supposedly from what I heard from Andy, that he saw yellow, amber eyes. Amber red eyes. Just burning orange eyes, I guess. looking through the driver's side of the door, and then he kept looking over to Andy, saying, "I can't slow this thing down. I can't stay on the road. I can't drive." Because what we know now, what I understood now, it was like a Bigfoot that was pushing him off the road and keeping him off the road because the direction that they were going to go in wasn't good. Um, that's Andy, Jacob thought he was crazy. Jacob himself thought he was crazy, and he knew for sure he couldn't tell Andy nothing because what happened was that he wrecked the truck. Jacob's like, "I wrecked the truck," so it's like, dude, even if I tell you that I was getting the truck got pushed off the road, I couldn't even tell you that the truck got pushed off the road because you wouldn't believe me. And Andy was like, exactly right. I don't care, man. You wrecked the truck, and now we got to freaking deal with Dad on the way back home. So Andy's very mad at the time, too. So they continued on doing their own thing, going down the road, and for many years, and never really brought it back and such. And it was just bad type of deal. So this is like hypothetical the way I see it of what happened was a Bigfoot from what I was hearing from Scott the Bigfoot and such like that many of y'all may know that I talked to. Supposedly what happened was this Bigfoot pushed him off the side of the road because he was going in the wrong direction, and he known us for many years. He's been watching us. From what I could tell, this Bigfoot, he's been up Blacks Ferry Road and such when I go running up and down the Blacks Ferry Road when I was young. And I used to saw black shadows running up through the woods. I used to look at it very closely to see if it was a bear or some possum or something like that. It wasn't. It wasn't because you're able to make a noise and see that it runs off or something. But this Bigfoot thing, he came through and he got in trouble for intervening on a human. And that's what was shown by him was that he was getting in trouble by the other Bigfoots because they're like not supposed to be doing anything with a human because you do something with a human, then you have to you may get caught. You know what you do, what you put out is what you receive, right? So that he didn't want to get caught by the humans and such. So it's a very stressful ordeal for the Bigfoot too. He's like, I don't want to deal with this, but I'm gonna have to. And just, that's what it was. Bigfoot. That's Scott. He got in during that same time period. He was going through some stuff too with his own family, his own tribe, and he had to get away from his family and tribe for a while, and then he just had to push that car off the side of the road because of other reasons. He knows, he sees, and he knows, and knows Andy, he knows Jacob, he knows me, anybody that's on the road type of deal. He keeps an eye on it, type of deal. Like he doesn't really try to. It's just he's eating something over here, doing something over there, but he sees our paths cross and such like that. So that's why he kind of like got an idea about us, and he felt like he was entitled to try to do something before something gets worse. And the other Bigfoots kind of got him some heat for that. That's what I remember for now.
Yeah, we were like in Virginia. We'd been running the NASCAR circuit at the time. We went from Kentucky, and we were on the way out north of Myrtle Beach or somewhere. We were going out that way, and we got called, that he had wrecked his truck. And so, of course, we came back. So that was during that time. They were just kids. They were running around having a good time. And yeah, I think we eventually told Jacob. I mean, how do you tell someone that, hey, by the way, that big giant face that you saw in your window that was like yellow eyes and you've had nightmares for years? Because, see, this was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when this happened. And it was only in the last 3 years or so when Matt started talking to Scott that we started getting understanding of what that was about. So we did eventually tell Jacob. I don't know if you know much about that as far as what Jacob thinks, but I think it was good that he realized that it wasn't a demon and it wasn't a monster, and it was for something that they were destined to fuck up that night.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jacob since that time period. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some time periods I did get to see him, like my buddy Two Wheels. He was me and my brothers, me, Andy, and this is like about 10 years, 5 years later. I was able to hang out with Two Wheels and then brought him over to Andy's house, and I was able to hang out with Jacob at that time period. But I didn't have that conversation with him, nor did I knew about it Bigfoot at the time in communication. Now we had our experience down in Chattanooga or that area, but Coca Creek, our story about that. We had that experience at the time, but we didn't have the Kentucky experience later on. So that's in between that time period when I saw Jacob again, and he's doing all right from what I saw, but you could tell there was some type of ordeal happen. His eyes were different, but he's just trying to move on from it, right? And possibly having those bad dreams could have been messing with him for many years. It kind of looked alike at the time, but
All right, guys, that's it. Hey, Varix, I hope this helps you out. I know you had an experience where you were basically, pulled from a fire. I have a third experience. I'll try to squeeze it in here. Me and Matt knows this guy that lives out in the woods, and I went and picked up this thing that you hooked to a bicycle. He rode his bicycle to the store, to get his stuff, and we got this thing, and we wanted to take it to him. I don't even know the guy. I don't know his name or not. I just know he's up in the woods. But I see him on the road all the time. So one day we's like, I want to take this. I got it at the junkyard. I fixed it up. I want to take it to him so he can have it on his bike. And I don't know, but I was moved to do it. I don't know. It was weird. And so it started raining. And I'm like, let's go. I don't care. And so we're like, okay, let's go. And so we're hike up through the woods. There's no drive to get to his place. He's like in the woods, really. Anyway, we hiked on up into the woods, and we found him laid across the campfire. He had fell in, and he was dead. Of course, we're like, what the hell? The radio was playing, right? Remember that? He had a little battery operated whatever USB little thingy, and it was playing still. What was playing on the song? AC/DC. For those about to rock. But anyway, of course, we called the sheriff out, and they come out, and he'd been laying there a while, and I've actually got the video. It's unlisted. It's going to stay that way, of course. It's not something that general public needs to look at. Not something I ever wanted to run into. Nothing something I ever seen. And I always wondered, we always wondered. We looked at that time. But is there any kind of activity, something that caused that death? We don't know if he fell down or if something hit him in the back of the head. Someone came out in the woods. We really don't ever know. I guess they put it down as accidental. It was weird. I know his sister came up, and her and the cops were walking up, and I'm like, no. I'm like, you can't let her go up there like this. And they're like, oh, yeah, hold on. The cops are such idiots. And I'm like, yeah, she doesn't need to find her brother the way he is. And so they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. You stay here. Oh, but anyway, that's just still a strange story. And just another fire story, but it ain't really related to these other two stories. But there's something weird about that. I don't know what happened to that guy. You think you know something? Okay, hold on.
about 3 or 4 days after or prior from that day of us getting that equipment, the little bicycle equipment, and sent it to him before we had found him. 3 or 4 days ago, we were going over to a work site, going over somewheres, and we passed him. But it was weird whenever I saw him. His face and neck and hands, they look kind of green in comparison to your skin tone, right? And I didn't know what that was about. And later on, I heard that he was He was going to this one church and had too much alcohol and such like that. He was alcoholic supposedly and such like that, and he got sick supposedly, and then he passed over, died is what supposedly happened. But I don't know what happened with that church and why he got sick from the church. That's my weird energy, or what he got into to eat, because it's very uncommon for someone to get sick like that and then just fall over and die like that. I'm like, I don't know, it's what he's been fed or something. What I was saying is some energetic thing or something. And I saw him, and I looked at him twice to confirm what I was saying, that I was not seeing him green. He was not green. But I looked at him again like, no, his skin and such tone was green. Not his actual skin, his aura was so strong that it was green on his hands or something. Like, I don't know what that was about. So, I mean, at least I throw that part in there, so if anybody got an idea, there's that.
Okay, we'll pack it up. Thanks, Matthew, for your documentation here, and I hope this helps Verix a little bit. You know, I think in that show they were talking about it, and that's I brought up in that show that a lot of times. I mean, we've had our heads cracked, brains broke in order to expand our understanding. So sometimes a brain has to be broke. And Mother Gaia, she's the one kind of taught me that I was hard-headed. See, hard-headed people, sometimes you got to break them so their head's not so hard and they can actually grow. And you can see more now and think more. And in Veric's case, I don't know why, but I see that he is probably in his family. He will be the one that will bring forth the things that people need to know about. So, in a way, the experience Verix has is having him do a lot of research. He's learned a lot. I've sat and listened to him talking. I love his talks. He has been working his butt off. I was there. I spent years working. I can relax now because you get the knowledge. You can chill. You can go in the woods again. You can relax. So it's really cool. And like I said, Verix, I see it as you're going to be more of a pivot person in your family because your mind is open now. And so you got to look at the positive side of all things. Sometimes, it sucks to have the holy hell scared out of you to wake you up. But ultimately, that's what has got you to jump into information and get with people that you've never met before to say, what is going on? So we went through it too. PTSD, study, and you'll learn, and the PTS will go down because you got to have. If you don't get information, you stay in a shocked, bad place, and that's not the purpose of having the holy hell scared out of you. That's not the purpose. Bigfoots are not wanting us to become zombies and be locked away. They're not. That's not. They're none of them ever want to do any of that kind of stuff. But sometimes they will break people's brains because it's like your own kids. You ever felt like shaking the hell out of your kids? Say, "What the hell are you doing?" And you like shake them or beat them with a stick because you're freaking crazy. You're trying to get that kid to go open their eyes and go, I could have died or I could have fucked something up. So I mean, it is part of life. So. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the information. And Verix, we love you, buddy. And everybody's always pulling for you. And everybody, and David and everybody, we love everyone. Have a good day.